You might have noticed that the term GADA, that is go anywhere, do anything watch, has been thrown around quite a bit recently, and Watchdives, being one of the most active macro brands in the last 12 months, unsurprisingly released quite a few models that could be classified as GADA watches too. I actually chose one of the Watchdives timepieces as the best GADA watch of the year. However, after spending about a week with this watch, I have questions like, can this particular model be objectively classified as GADA, and being priced somewhat higher than most similar spec watches from Watchdives, what exactly does it bring to the table that would entice us to part with our hard-earned cash? Well, we have it here. Let's find out. Hello and welcome back. Right, so I'm not going to throw this recent model from Watchdives under the bus, but as you might have guessed, I will not be singing undeserved praises to this NH35 powered three-hander either. I will though do my best as always to share a comprehensive review of this timepiece, because that is what I promised to Watchdives when they offered to send me this watch for review. And for full transparency, I do get to keep it too, so let's go through all the details of this timepiece and let's see if we can answer my questions from the introduction. And of course, all the product links, as always, will be in the description of this video. So let's start with the design, and to be honest, I think it is Watchdives' saving grace here, because from where I sit, it looks like a fairly original design. Okay, I do agree that from some angles, this classic dress watch might resemble some famous timepieces like Tissot Gentleman, although Tissot watch has slightly different bezel and it doesn't have crown guards, just to name a few differences. So Watchdives delivered here classic dress watch design, which is also attractive and functional. Now, however, before we get further, let's address this first question. Is it really a so-called GADA watch? So, according to the definition that we can find on the interweb, there is a certain criteria that the GADA watch needs to comply. Like size, be a certain weight, have a 20mm sturdy bracelet, have a certain case construction, at least 100 meters of water resistance, and the GADA watch needs to have a decent luminosity. And here it is actually better than average, as we will see shortly. And it is easy to see that this watch does not tick only one box, the dial. And from my point of view, it is a very substantial box, because dial is usually, and definitely in the case of this watch, is a centerpiece, and here it is anything but neutral. As a matter of fact, this flamboyant blue fume gradient background colorway with some strange 3D embossed rays radiating from the center is the most subdued out of three colorways on offer. So in my books, this elaborate dial design definitely takes this watch out of this GADA category. I mean, you're welcome to treat this watch as GADA by all means, but if we are to play by our self-imposed GADA rules, well, this is not exactly a GADA. What do you think? Well, do let us know in the comments. So here are the dimensions: 39mm case diameter, 20mm lugs, 12.3mm case height, and a lug-to-lug distance of 45.5mm. And this watch weighs 135 grams. A very versatile set of proportions, making this watch suitable for the wrists, starting from about 6 inches and up. In regards to the movement, Watchdives went with the safe and arguably the most cost-effective choice here, Seika NH35. It is an automatic mechanical caliber that hardly needs any introduction. One thing to point out though, Watchdives offers this timepiece with or without the date on the dial, which is great. However, the movement for both options is still the same, NH35. And so, on the no-date version, we will have the so-called ghost crown position, when we will be turning the crown to change the date, but of course we will see no changes on the dial. Actually, the case is probably one of my favorite, if not the most favorite part of this watch. I like the elegant curves of the flanks, especially on the crown side. The full stainless steel construction case features a combination of brushed and high-polished surfaces. The fixed stainless steel bezel has a circular brushing on the top and high-polished finish on the sides. The lugs and flanks are also brushed and are separated by high-polished chamfers. And we also have chamfers on the bottom of the flanks, giving the case a nice finishing touch. We have a screw-down crown at 3 o'clock position, and it is protected by those elegantly sculpted crown guards that I really like. And the crown is signed with a laser-etched Watchdives new logo. Flipping the case over and we have a sterile scroll back case with a simple circular brushing, slightly uneventful, so maybe Watchdives will introduce some branding here in the future. And we have 100 meters of declared water resistance on this watch, which means we should be okay wearing it while swimming. So we have a slightly raised double dome sapphire crystal here, and Watchdives applied clear anti-reflective coating on the inside, so the legibility of this dial is pretty good. In regards to the dial, well, it is a nicely laid out dial. I like the 6 o'clock date position, and I also like that Watchdives didn't cut corners here and color matched the date window background. I also like the pencil style hands. The minute and hour hands are multifaceted, creating a bit of a light bounce, which gives the dial a more premium look. And I also like the high polished metal applied hour indices, which, the same as the hands, are really well filled with lume, as we will see shortly. However, and I know this might sound slightly controversial, but I must admit, while it is probably the key selling point of this timepiece, I don't particularly love the dial background. I can clearly see what type of effect Watchdives were after here, and I think they almost got there. However, the 3D relief seemed to be a bit too prominent, and I think it would benefit from a bit more subtle approach. Less is more kind of thing. But it is very much a personal preference, and your take might be completely opposite. What do you think? Well, do let us know in the comments. And while you're contemplating your answer, here is my 15-minute lume test. And here I have no issues whatsoever. Okay, it is not a diver level lume, but it is definitely above average and will do the job on this watch just fine. As for the bracelet, well, we have here a kinda straightforward solid stainless steel oyster style bracelet with brushed top and high polished sides of the links. And while, unlike the case of this watch, this bracelet doesn't look very remarkable, it is actually quite well executed and also has a couple of very useful features. So first, it has inverted end links, which allows us to take a full advantage of the short lug-to-lug distance. And we also have a quick release spring bars here. I should point out though that these are probably the most spring-loaded quick release bars I encountered so far, so I would advise to use some tool rather than your nails if you will try to remove the bracelet. Now, the tolerances on the bracelet are also very decent, and we have pins connecting the links, which is perfectly fine. That is, except for the last links adjacent to the clasp, which have screws. This is done so we can have an option of installing an upgraded clasp, which we can purchase from Watchdives online store. That is not to say that anything is wrong with the current clasp. I actually like it. It is a robust double pusher clasp with milled inner scissor mechanism and plenty of macro adjustments. The clasp outer shell is well finished with brushed top and sides and high polished bevels. And it is also signed with the Watchdives new logo. And here is how this watch wears on my about 7-inch wrist. Right, verdict time. Well, taking into account the original design, very decent build quality, very useful features like quick release bracelet and a very good lume, I think at an average of about $170, this Watchdives is actually priced really well. And there is nothing in particular that would stop me from considering this watch if this was the style I was after. What are your thoughts? Well, do share with us in the comments. However, if you want to see a review of a real GADA watch, well, I will try to link one on the screen somewhere around here. Don't forget to like and of course subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you in the next video.